Okay, guys, so this is part 2 of lesson 6 here. Okay, so again, we're looking at solving quadratics in a way that we are able to actually answer meaningful questions about particular problems we might encounter in the real world. Okay, so this question here is a little bit easier than the last one, purely based on the factoring method that you're going to use here, right? So you're going to see here, okay, that just by looking at the equation that I'm given, okay, so it's revenue represents is equal to negative 2t squared plus 94t, okay, where t represents the number of tickets sold. Okay, so let's just read the question and then we'll try and figure out the answers to each of the succeeding questions. Okay, so the following equation represents the revenue of a high school dance in hundreds of dollars. Okay, so that's kind of important. You're going to need that for the end of the question, right? So let's put a little highlight. Revenue, school dance in hundreds of dollars. Okay, it's important. So the points. So we want to find the points in which no money is made. Okay, so you recall earlier. That sounds like, if I were to plot, I'll go down here. If I were to plot tickets on the x-axis, okay, and we'll have revenue going up the y-axis, okay. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to sell tickets, right? And then at some point, for whatever reason, okay, it's going to start to taper back off. Okay, that could be a whole variety of reasons, right? Like, let's say here for a sec, for instance, I know when I run events and I have to think about the capacity of the venue in which I'm running my event in, right? And so it becomes, once I sell a certain number of tickets, right? Once I sell a certain number of tickets, I can't go anymore, right? The only way I would be able to go more would be if I bought a bigger building or I rented a bigger building or venue. That way I could sell more tickets, right? But ultimately, the bigger venue is going to cost more, right? So the amount of money I'm going to be able to make is actually going to be maximized depending on my expenses, right? And so if we use that kind of analogy, right, or real world example, okay, there are going to be 2 points in time or 2 number of tickets in which I'm going to break even. Okay, this question might not be, like, I suppose if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything with this particular question. Okay, but there are maybe moments in time where the parabola could be slid over, right? At which point you're going to have 2 different break-even points, okay? But this question here is going to probably be on the 0, okay? And we'll see why that is in a second here, okay? So let's take a look at the first part, okay? So your job is to figure out the 2 values of t where it crosses the x-axis, right? Where we said time was. So to do that, you're always going to factor, right? So anytime you see this, finding the points where no money's made, or you're going to want to factor somehow, right? And in lessons 1 and 2, I showed you, for this particular question, right, I showed you 2 methods. I showed you greatest common factor, and I showed you man. Okay, but man only really worked with trinomials. Okay, so something that looked x squared plus x plus a number, right? That's not what this question looks like, or this equation. This looks like something from the first 2 lessons. So let's take a look. I'll show you how to do this, okay? Okay, so let's just, we're going to apply something from the first 2 lessons, okay? So I'm going to take a look at my equation. The revenue is represented by the negative 2t squared plus 49t. Now, sorry, 94. Okay, now I'm going to look at these 2 pieces, what we call terms, term 1 and term 2, and I'm going to look at what's common between the 2, okay? Now, you always ask yourself, what can I divide both of these things by? Okay, so, well, one of them is for sure 2. Okay, and then you're going to want to write what's left after you write the 2 out, right? But the other thing I see here, okay, I see that there are, well, there's a t that I can take out, right? So I can take that out too, okay? And then the last thing you're going to do is say, I see this negative floating out front. So I'm going to take that out as well, okay? And then you're going to write what's left afterward. You're going to go t, and then half of 94, right? But I took a negative out, so it has to actually be minus. And you'll know that because when I multiply it back in, it's going to become positive, right? Because it'll be a negative 2. So your job is to figure out what's half of 94, right? Okay. Well, 45 and 45 would be 90, right? Which would leave me 4 left. So 47, if I split the difference of the 4 left, right? Okay, and there you go. So there are your 2 pieces, okay? And so the values, one of the values is going to be at t equals 0, right? Basically, if you want to know, here, let me write a question before we do that. You want to know, here's the question you want to know. Where is R, or revenue, equal to 0? That's what you want to know, right? Well, it turns out, so if I were to write that in here, I would get 0 is equal to, because I want to know where revenue is equal to 0, right? It would be 0 equal to negative 2t, t minus 47. Okay. So then you got to ask yourself, okay, how do I get 0 on the right-hand side? Well, if I plugged in t equals 0, right, then 2 times 0 would be 0. 0 times all of this would also be 0. So that one works, okay? The other one that would work is if t was equal to 47, right? So if I plug in 47 in particular here, and I know that it's 47 because of this right here, okay? If I were to plug in 47 here, 47 minus 47 is 0. 0 multiplied by, it would be 94 here, because I would plug in 47 here. It would also be 0. So that works. Okay, so I know that these 2 answers are good, right? And so those would be the 2 points in which, let's back up here. Okay, these are the 2 points here where 0, where there'd be no profit or no revenue, right? So no revenue. Okay, so that's good. Now the next question is like, okay, well, how much money would you make if all the grade 12s attended the dance, right? And keep in mind, look, we only bought a certain number of people, right? And so if we sell too many tickets, we're not going to be allowed to stay in the current venue, so our costs are going to go up, right? So you got to figure out, okay, well, what's the revenue if I sell 45 tickets? Well, that just means I'm going to plug 45 in for t. Okay, so it just means 2t squared, right? Multiplied by, actually, you know what? You could pick either of these 2 equations, okay? Let's do the first one just to be on the safe side. Maybe we made a mistake, who knows? Right, negative 2t squared plus 94t, okay? And what I want to do is put 45 in for t. Okay, so r equals negative 2, and then I'm going to do 45 squared plus 94 multiplied by 45, okay? And then you'd go to your calculator, okay? And you type in exactly that, okay? So we can go to my calculator here. And you can go, okay, 45 times 45, 2025. Okay, 2025. Oh, but it's 2 multiplied by 2025. Okay, plus, I need 45 times 94. Okay, let's go back. What was the number? 4230. Okay, and then you just got to do the math on that, right? So I know that that's going to be negative. I'm just going to multiply 2025 by negative 2, so it's going to be negative 4,050 plus 230. Okay, so then you can go, we'll go back here and go 4,050 negative plus 4,230. Okay, 180. So there you go. Okay, that's how much money would be made if only the grade 12s went, or if 45 grade 12s went. Okay. Okay. Now your next question is, okay, well, very similar to earlier, what's the maximum revenue of the dance, right? So we want to figure out that maximum obviously occurs between those two values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go 0 plus 47 divided by 2, right? Because that tells me the middle. And you remember these are the 2 break-even points, right? So if I take the 2 break-even points, I divide them in middle into 2, it gives me the middle. That tells me the number of tickets that maximizes the profit. Okay, and so 47 divided by 2, 46 divided by 2 should be, that'll be 23.5 gives me half of 47. Okay, so we should have 47 divided by 2, which should equal to 23.5. Okay, so that means I know we can't sell half a ticket. Okay, so maybe not the best question, but let's just, we'll round down, say. Okay, so 23 tickets maximizes a profit. Okay, how much is that profit? Is the next question. How much? Well, let's find out. We could take the revenue, and we can use the second equation this time. You could use either of them either time, but we'll use it this time. Negative 2 multiplied by t multiplied by t minus 47. Okay. And what you do is you plug in the value of t that you want, and so it'll spit out a revenue. So negative 2 multiplied by 23 multiplied by 23 minus 47. Okay. And so we're going to get negative 46 multiplied by 23 minus 47. Okay. What's that going to be? That's a tricky one. Let's just do this one. Do it quick. Negative 24. Okay, and then what you're going to do, this is going to spit out the answer. So you're going to actually multiply those two numbers together. Negative 24 multiplied by 46. Negative 46, sorry. There you go. So the maximum revenue would be that. Okay. There you go. So that's using quadratics to answer things we may actually care about in the real world, right? So I know we threw a ball in the first one, but when we start getting into finances, it's a little bit more applicable, right? We can use quadratics to determine break-even points, and ultimately we call this optimization. Okay, so the process by which we figure out under what circumstances maximizes or minimizes what it is we're looking for or trying to do. Okay, so there you go. There's a quadratic application for you.